Hello and welcome. My name is Monica Poe and I'm the marketing manager here at weavix. I'm excited to have you join me for this episode in our new video series, The Thread. If you haven't had a chance to watch all the previous episodes, be sure to go back and watch them to experience all things weavix. During this episode, we're going to go into how weavix improves communication on the front line and in the office. Joining me for this conversation is going to be Ben Burrus, our Chief Product Officer. Ben is a technology leader whose focus on the end user, the worker, plays a critical role in our product innovation and development. Ben, it's great to have you on. How are you this morning?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Well, Ben, let's kind of just dive right in. So can you provide a brief overview of what you have seen in the way of communication systems available for the frontline worker?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. It was interesting when we started weavix and took a look at the kind of collaboration space, and what we saw was a huge divide in what we call desk-bound workers, so folks whose primary interface is a keyboard, and they primarily type their messages. We saw a big difference between those folks and folks that we define as deskless workers, those who are constantly on the move. They're working with their hands, they're wearing big, thick gloves in loud and hazardous environments. And what we really saw was there's been a ton of innovation over the past couple decades when it comes to desk-bound workers. So we're all familiar with Slack, Teams, Zoom, WhatsApp, all these rich collaboration platforms that use different types of multimedia, be it text, video, picture, live meetings, kind of all these things that make those workers more productive. And when we looked at the frontline workers, the 800-pound gorilla there is still just a two-way radio LMR system, maybe a DMR system, but really what those are focused on is just talking. And the other thing we saw is because those devices can be expensive, and a lot of times folks don't like to give those expensive devices to every worker. The communication really stops at the foreman level. So you're not getting communication from every worker. We're kind of playing the tag game where this person says this to this person and they say it to another person. And by the time it gets to the actual people that can make the decisions, it's probably a little bit different message. So, the main thing we saw was just a lack of innovation for deskless workers, which, by the way, are 80% of the global workforce, and the fact that the existing systems really aren't in every worker's hands.
So sounds kind of limited. Obviously, just a two-way radio. So what are the communication capabilities within the weavix platform?
Yeah, great question. So first off, we want to put a small Walt smart radio in every worker's hands. And we can do that based on our business model where it's not really about the hardware, it's about the platform behind the hardware and the collaboration suite that we provide. So, with our per month per user model, it makes it cost effective to put a device on every single worker, which is going to give every single worker that collaboration that, us in the office have come to expect. The other thing that we've done and we really noticed is that a lot of these job sites have temporary workers or contractors. They scale up and scale down for capital projects, turnarounds, outages, different things like that. Or they just have workers that might be employed by another company but are pretty much on their site every day. And what we did is create a global directory as an ecosystem. So that way, you don't have to set up contractors. They can come and go and with permissions, obviously, talk to your employees. It makes it very easy to provision accounts to be able to talk between companies, which we see as a really big gap in the market when, a contractor comes on site and they don't know who to go talk to get a safe work permit, for instance. They can sit there and waste hours and hours with their crew behind them trying to figure out who to contact. With Global Directory, we're trying to kind of increase communication by limiting the amount of time that the contractor has to figure out who to go talk to do that. And pictures and video are another big thing. We found that a lot of times, let's say you're a contractor, you're 200 feet up a scrubber tower trying to figure out what to do. Well, today with a radio, maybe you can radio down, but you really don't know who to go talk to. It's, maybe 16 channels. So typically you climb down, and if you're a worker, you might not have a radio at all anyway. So you have to climb down 200 feet. You have to go find your boss. Your foreman, they have to go find the operator of the unit. The operator has to send an email for a problem to try to figure out what's going on. A lot of lost opportunity there where you could just use your Walt Smart Radio, take a quick video, send it to the operator on call using the global directory, and get your problem solved there in real time.
Okay, so we have all those communication options, but are they only available for the Walt Smart Radio to talk to other Walt Smart Radios, or does the platform, go between the office and the deskless?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, one of the things and one of the reasons why we're called weavix is we want to weave all this communication and collaboration together in one platform. So we really wanted to basically make the smart radio, the Walt Smart Radio, for the frontline worker, for the deskless worker. But also we have the application with the same functionality available for iOS or Android. So if your workers or your foremen, managers do have a company-issued cell phone, they can actually just put the app on that cell phone and use that in lieu of a radio to communicate anywhere in the globe, which is really nice. So if you have multiple facilities, you're a traveling manager, maybe you can keep in touch with all of your sites with a push of a button, just getting your phone out of your pocket. And then additionally, we really wanted to bridge the gap between desk-bound and deskless workers by creating portals for your computer where you can then send files, talk directly from your computer, kind of like a dispatch system with a simple downloaded application. And what we really try to do is keep the radio interface familiar, so it's going to look and feel a lot like a radio. The Walt is going to feel a lot like a traditional radio. The phone app's going to feel a lot like a text message, and the desktop app's going to feel a lot like Teams or Slack.
Wow, Ben, that's great. I didn't think of that through all of them. So, I really think our conversation today highlighted the importance of providing our workers with the tool and the right tech for their job and environment. We do have to end today, but if you want to hear more from Ben, you can connect with him on LinkedIn. weavix is also on LinkedIn, as well as Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. As I've said before on the Thread episodes, you can find all of our social media handles down in the description. If you've not watched any of the previous episodes, be sure and go back and watch them as we explore all things weavix with our leadership team. Lastly, if you want to be the first one to know when the next episode of The Thread will air, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks.